On a very nice day today, and every day at the moment seems to be the same. You can see that it's rained quite a bit over the last few hours. The wind is blowing. It's actually only 12 degrees here at this moment in time in our Newdig, Norfolk garden. So I've made a decision. I shall tell you all about it in this video. When we come to sow our seeds, we try to sow them at the optimum time. You've all watched our Sow With Us videos, and by the way, a big thank you for that. We really appreciate all your views. They've actually been some of our largest viewed videos. And that's because we've used our experience so that you get a rough idea when things need to be sown. If you look on the back of a seed packet, normally there's at least a 2-month window when you could be sowing something. But there's always an... Hello?
They're up on the table.
Hello? There is always an optimum time to sow something. Usually seeds can be sown just that little bit earlier than the seed packet says. And it gives you a slightly longer growing season, especially if you want to get larger plants, because you know that in your garden you have many slugs or snails. I know a lot of you have said you've seen so many this year. Even we've seen more than we normally see. Thankfully, not too much damage. But we have seen more than we would normally see. I can't see any end at the moment to the kind of weather that we're getting here in the UK. So what I'm saying is, from now until the end of the sowing season, bring everything forward by 1 week. For example, I would normally sow my spring cabbages beginning of August. And they will normally have a long enough time to get to a certain size so that I can transplant them. And then they get to a certain size before the autumn and winter weathers arrive, and then they stop growing. And they get away very quickly in the new year, around about February, when the daylight starts to lengthen and the temperatures warm up. But if I leave those seeds until August, and throughout August the weather remains like this, those seedlings are never going to get big enough for the optimum time to put them out into the plots. It's like a spring day today. The sort of temperatures that we'd expect to see in spring, a bit of breeze, 12, 13 degrees. But this is the 12th of July. Now, we sowed these beetroot last spring. And it's taken them all this while to get to a decent size that we can use. Yes, we have had harvests, we've just selected them smaller because we wanted beetroot. However, these only went in about 3 or so weeks ago. And of course, during that period, we had that sort of 6 or 7 days where it was really quite warm. The sun came out. And actually, they've already got beetroots there, look. So it just goes to show you just how much the weather plays a part. And if you're like us and you want to be eating your own food for as long as you can. Myself, Mrs. W, we always have that target in mind, to be self-sufficient in the vegetables and the fruit that we eat. And usually, at this time of the year, June, July, you can sow seeds, they germinate within a matter of days, and they're ready to go out into the plot, sometimes after 3 weeks. Sadly, this is not the case this year. These purple sprouting broccoli, they were actually sowed last week in June. In fact, you probably all saw me sowing them. They've hardly put on any growth. They're there, don't get me wrong, and they will go out, but they're going to go out much later. It's the same with everything else that you saw me sow. Not so this year. They look terrible. I've never known seedlings. I've never grown seedlings like that before. Normally our purple sprouting broccoli are in the plots by now, mid-July. At the earliest, they're going to be the end of July. Of course, anything that you already have in the ground, they'll be doing fine. You won't see so much of the check on growth. They're already there. I mean, the courgettes are loving this weather. Soft fruit has been really good. In fact, most of the things that we've grown so far this year have been really good. It's just at this time of the year when you need things to be going into your plots now in order that you get the harvest when you want them, whether that be November, December, January, February, March, April of 2025. The window is very much shortened, and that's why you have optimum sowing times. As I said earlier, normally sow spring cabbage, beginning of August. They're out into the plots, beginning of September. We're eating them March, April, May. But if they remain like we've just seen those seedlings, they won't be able to go out on time. Now, of course, if the weather does change, it'll just mean that they've got a little bit bigger and they could go out into the plot a little bit earlier. That's not going to affect things quite so much. But if they don't go in when they really need to go in and they're much later, that really will cause a problem. In fact, it's been that cold, really, for the time of year. Mrs. W has had her cardi on.
I have. It's very unlike me. But it's decidedly chilly.
So, do share your thoughts in the comments below. But if you take my advice, for all the reasons I've just stated, bring all your sowings 1 week earlier. Give yourself a window where you will get plants that are ready to go out into your plots as and when you want them. I need plants that are going to replace the onions that are going to be coming out very, very soon. And if you haven't got those plants, you're not going to have the food for next year. Have a great gardening week. We shall see you all on the next one.